And I see an advertisement in the newspaper, become an Israeli tour guide. It's a 2-year program here in Israel. So I said, you know what? I'm a people person. Maybe I can inspire people. It's a job that you can be proud of. You can connect to the land. I can learn about the land. I mean, it seemed like a win-win situation. So I signed up for the class. I said, if it doesn't work out for me, I can leave, right? And it was a very inspiring class. My first reading assignment was the Tanakh, right? Not the whole thing, but certain books. Genesis, Exodus, the conquest of the land of Israel, Joshua, Shmuel, the stories of King David, the prophets, the Nevi'im. But not only am I reading these stories for the first time, I'm actually going to the archaeological sites where these stories took place. And I'm getting down and dirty, and I'm actually digging through the archaeological sites, and I'm uncovering history. I mean, I'm seeing it with my own eyes. It's real. It was right there in front of me, and I'm reading the stories. I'm at the archaeological sites, and I'm like, wow, who knew? The Tanakh, historically, pretty accurate, right? We're at the sites. We see the utensils of war, the battles that were fought, Jericho, Chatzor in the north. Here in Yerushalayim, you go to the city of David. I mean, it's all right there. So I was very, very inspired. I was really enjoying the class, and as soon as summertime came, you had summer break. So I said, okay, what am I going to do? I have 3 options. I could be a bum, which I was pretty good at. I can work, make a little bit of money, or maybe I can try and discover the stories behind the stories. Learn a little bit more about, the Jewish definition of God. What does it mean? Learn a little bit about the holidays, learn a little bit about Shabbat, whatever there is to learn. I said, I could do that. So I looked on the internet. I said, courses in English, in Jerusalem, on the Torah. Aish Torah pops up, Essentials program. I actually called Rabbi Shmuel Schwartz. I called him Stewie back then. I said, Stewie, I said, this is David Sussman, and I want to learn something about God. Told him a little bit about my background. He says, okay, no problem. Come on board. We have this 3-week program called Essentials. So great, 3 weeks, awesome. I said, can you put me up? He says, well, listen, you usually don't take Israeli citizens into the dormitories for whatever reasons. I'm not too sure why. He says, but there's this place in the old city called the Heritage House, and they'll give you a bed and a place to sleep, and you can come for classes. Cool, great. Called up the Heritage House. They gave me a bed, totally free, amazing. It's great. I'm taking these classes, and I'm just, wowed by the concepts that come straight from our book, straight from the Torah, right? Like all of these values and ideals that I had discovered being a hippie were all right here in the Torah, right? Justice, equality, connecting to something bigger than you. It's all right there in the Torah. So 3 weeks were up. I wanted to learn some more, but I still had my apartment in Tel Aviv. I had a nice big barbecue, lived near the beach, TV, sound system. I didn't want to give it up. So I asked if I can continue learning, and I would stay in the Heritage House, and I would come home to Tel Aviv for Shabbos, for the weekends. I wasn't keeping Shabbos, but I was learning a lot, and I was very inspired by it. So I'm in now pre-intermediate. They have a bunch of different tractates or levels here at Aish Torah. So now I'm in this program called pre-intermediate. It's a little bit more in depth. You learn a little bit more about the concepts of tefillin and davening, and what these things mean. And the Rosh Yeshiva who passed away last year, Rav Noah Weinberg, Tzetzal, is teaching us a class on the 5 levels of pleasure. Right? You have physical pleasure, love, meaning, creativity, connecting to God, all these different ways that one can enjoy life. And he asked this question. We're on the subject of meaning, purpose. He says, what are you guys willing to die for? Who here is willing to die for something? Maybe it's Israel, maybe it's your family, friends. What are you willing to die for? And of course, this is a year after my experience in Lebanon. So I raised my hand. I said, I am willing to die for Israel. In fact, I almost did die for Israel. He said, oh, really? He says, what else? I said, well, I'm a gever. I'm a dude, So I'm willing to die for my family and my friends too. He says, come on. He goes, when was the last time you did something for Israel? And I was like, well, what do you mean? Serve in the army every year. I pay taxes. I live here, don't I? He says, you live here, you have to serve in the army. You live here, you have to pay taxes. But when did you do something just, not normal. When did you go out of your way to do something for Israel? And I'm like, well, I had nothing. I didn't know what to say. He said, when was the last time you did something for your family? And not calling your dad up for your birthday. Not, calling him up for money, right? You call up for an allowance and I need a little help. When was the last time you did something for a friend? You're willing to die for a friend. When was the last time you really went out of your way? Not because if you do something nice for her or for him, they're going to, get you back sometime later, right? When was the last time you just did something really nice, a thoughtful action for a friend? And I was just, blown. Again, I felt embarrassed, right? I felt embarrassed not because, it was because I was selfish, right? But it was because I was a human being, right? We're all a little bit selfish, right? So I said, I don't really know. He says, death, when you choose to die for something, right? It's like a split-second decision. You see somebody, they're about to get hit by a car, right? You push that person out of the way, chas v'shalom, whatever happened, you get hit by the car, you die. It's a split-second decision, a hero's death, right? But to actually live for something, to actually dedicate your life for your family, for your friends, for your country, because that is a serious decision. And that decision takes effort. And it's pain. It's painful, right? Which is the reason why most of us don't make that choice. It's the reason why most of us are afraid to even discover what we're really willing to die for and what we're really willing to live for. Because most of us equate pain as being the opposite of pleasure, right? And we all want to enjoy life, right? We all are pleasure seekers, right? We all want to enjoy this existence of ours. So we look for things that aren't going to cause pain. We look for comfort, right? Which is basically the definition of decadence, right? We all look for that vacation in the Bahamas or in Thailand on the beach where you get that, $5 foot massage, pina colada. It's like, I don't want to feel any pain. I want to sit at home, kick my feet up, watch the TV, drink a beer, order some pizza, right? Nothing that requires effort. But if you really want to enjoy life, you want to find some pleasure in life, it takes effort, it takes pain, right? I was a rock climber. You climb a mountain, right? You get up to the top, your fingers are bleeding, right? But it feels great. You just conquered that mountain. You made it to the top, right? You play any sports? A little bit? High school? Anybody here play any sports? Right? What'd you play? Water ski? That's a sport in college? That's awesome. I'm sure when you were practicing the water skiing, there was a lot of times that was really a lot of pain, right? You're out there on the water, you're skiing around, but yet you still go through the pain because you want to win the championship, right? If you look at the sports heroes, right? The professional athletes, you see them after the game, right? They're in the locker room, they have ice on their knees, they're getting the cortisone shots. They're in a lot of pain, right? But the joy of winning the championship, it's worth all the pain in the world, right? Because in order to get pleasure, you need to go through a little bit of pain. And with that class, I can really say that my life took a drastic turn. And I thought to myself, how can I enjoy life to the fullest? How can I dedicate myself to the values that I say that I care about, right? Israel, family, friends. And I spent a year. It was at that point that I said, okay, you know what? Spend some time, learn a little bit more about this thing they call Judaism, and commit yourself for a year. Go learn for a year. So now they let me into the dorms because I said I wanted to stick around. Let me into the dorms. I stayed for a year, and at the end of the year, I said, okay, let me take a step back. Let me see if all these values are true, if I can integrate them into my life. I took a year off from yeshiva. I went on this big camping trip. It was 3 months. I hiked all the way from Eilat to Metula, all around this country, sleeping in my tent. And after that, I worked a little while as a tour guide. And after the year, I said, you know what? I want to learn a little bit more about Judaism. I want to really solidify these concepts that I've been trying to integrate in my life. So I decided to come back here to Aish Torah to study a little bit more, and I've been back for about 6-7 months.